Hello, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I want to talk about today is the cost and benefit of regulations. Now, are regulations a bad or a good thing? They're neither. Regulations are just rules, and rules have a role to play in society. Rules exist at all levels. We have rules when we play board games, we have rules in our family household, we have rules at the local public pool, we have rules at the store that we go shop at. Rules exist everywhere. These are just regulations. Regulations are just rules. Nothing wrong with rules. Rules make board games fun. They allow us to be able to determine who's winning, who's losing, and who is cheating. So rules are necessary. Some of the important questions, though, become who should set the rules? Does every rule regarding everything always have to be set by government? That's something to think about. And what should be the purpose of those rules? Are those purpose of the rules to make everything 100% right 100% of the time? The cost of doing so may outweigh the benefit. So what should we be aiming to do, and how should we be aiming to do it? Now, something to think about as far as the cost and benefits go, though. Benefit is when there are rules, people feel much more certain about participating. So for example, since I know I can tell who is cheating at Uno, I feel much more comfortable playing Uno because the rules are simple and clear. So in that case, I can see if somebody else is cheating, and the fact that the rules are there make me feel comfortable playing. In the same way, like there's a lifeguard at a pool, you're much more likely to take your kids to a pool with a lifeguard than one without. So the fact that rules exist and the rules are simple, one, allow more people to participate and make people feel accountable. But at the same time, rules can have the opposite effect. When they become complicated, think of something like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's a lot of fun but can be really, really complicated. It can discourage a lot of people from playing because they get intimidated, and also people who are playing can much more easily cheat because it's really hard to know if they are playing by the rules because there's so many rules. You basically have to be a legal scholar to play Dungeons and Dragons. So there's a lot of different dynamics to this whole regulation story. There are real costs when it comes to regulation, though. Costs in time and money, because it takes time to learn how to implement these rules, and it costs money to comply with these rules. And at the same time, they also create more and more reasons for there to be legal disputes between parties. So there's also that increased legal cost in society, making society more litigious because there's so many rules. So again, I'm not saying that there should be no rules ever, but the question is, who should make the rules? What should the rules accomplish? How much rules do you really need? Now, a lot of regulations don't necessarily have to be done through government. Many times, regulation occurs through all sorts of different factors. For example, there's a company called Underwriters Laboratory. Now, what Underwriters Laboratory does is they test the quality of goods. And companies are going to want to follow their rules to get their label on their product. Now, one of the reasons why they want to have their label on their product, that safety label, is because they want to get insurance. And an insurance company who insures the liability of your company is going to want to make sure that they're not on the hook either. So the fact that you want insurance to protect yourself, and the insurance company wants to protect itself, creates an incentive for people to follow the rules of these third parties without any kind of government force. Now, other ways you can do it is through a public accountability. You can have public watchdogs who tell people companies are doing this or private actors are doing this, and allow public outcry to help determine behavior. For example, think of the recent United Airlines spat. You're already starting to see change among all the airlines just because of the public outcry. No laws have changed, but you're already starting to see change in the business because business at the end of the day want people to choose to use them. And because people have a freedom to choose to patron their business, there's this element of accountability. Another way to sort of establish sort of a regulatory scheme without having to resort to government regulations is to create third-party agents. So instead of purchasing things directly, you go through a third party, or you do bulk purchases of things through a third party. Because in that third party, with their access to all these different customers, can have the bargaining power to ask the person who's selling to them to comply with X, Y, and Z rule, because hey, I represent 100 different buyers. If you comply with these rules, you get to sell to these 100 buyers. If not, I'll find somebody else who will. So there's ways where you can get together and create collective organizing that can achieve change and results in how businesses run, how people act, etc., without necessarily having to resort to creating government rules that require the force of police, which means you're distracting, resources that could be used to preventing things like violent crimes. So, point is, regulations, rules can be a good thing, but they should be simple. And two, not every rule, not every way we regulate society necessarily has to be done through government. There are several different ways to do it. And all I want is to hopefully encourage discussion about these things after watching this video. And have that conversation, leave a comment on what you think. Thank you very much. Have a great day and enjoy.